All right, guys. Dave Whichard, President, FFL Velocity. Welcome to Weekend Warriors podcast. We're actually in the Roanoke office podcast center, and I have a special guest. She actually came all the way up from, well, she lives in Asheville, but she's also from Louisiana. Her kids go to school down at LSU. And since I'm a Georgia guy, that's SEC school, so that's cool. But yeah, and her name is Miss Stacy Smith, and she is a big producer. Say hi, Stacy.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah. All right, so Stacy, how long have you been with FFL, and kind of tell us just a brief, kind of a little bit about your background, your journey, kind of to FFL, why you came here, that kind of thing.
Well, I started in November, and it was kind of ironic because I've been actually in the industry since the previous November for a year, and FFL actually called me right when I was kind of contracting with the other FFL, but I went with the other training group, and it was a really awesome experience to be with that one. But some changes happened in my life and ended up contracting with you all in November. So basically just started writing business after the new year and doing well, feeling good.
Yeah, so you had been in insurance before, and so FFL as a whole, what drew you to FFL? Is there any specific thing?
I would say, to be totally frank, I just needed to get on with another IMO and work. I tried doing independent in between. I really needed that team camaraderie, and I like that about my other IMO, so felt like the culture, and I listened to Andrew Taylor on his podcast. I love his energy, so I was like, yeah, this guy's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah, just thought, I'm going to give it a shot.
Cool. So you have, how many kids you have?
Three girls.
Are they all, three girls, I have four. So you have three girls and they're all in LSU, or how old are they?
My oldest 21 at LSU. The second child's a senior. She's going to LSU. And the youngest is in high school, so she's got a couple more years left.
So we still have some time to save them. Get that one to Georgia, maybe?
I'm not sure. They might be moving out to Salt Lake City,
Yeah.
So I'll be heading that way, too.
Okay, well.
Going west for a little
like
bit.
Me, man. I moved around a lot in my life, too. So so you just had one of your better weeks this past week, right? 17 families, is that right? Protected?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, it was an interesting week. Purchased some leads and just started dialing, and told myself I'm going to put in right after conference 30 days, just a sprint and focus and let go of some things that might be distracting me, and ended up contacting some leads that were actually people that I knew in Asheville, and they had families, they had kids and grandkids. So I ended up writing about 3 families, and then there were 5 to 9 kids attached. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was a busy week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
Good. And but you had, I think your first week you had 10 families protected or so, and you've been pretty consistent. 6, 7, 8, 10 families every week, pretty much, you think?
Yeah.
For the most part?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to book 15 to 20 to 30 appointments. But
Every
I
2
find,
days?
Yes, but I find that even if I book 15 or 16, the ones that don't maybe not show the next week, I can add those to the next week. So I am kind of getting my 25 to 30, adding the no-shows and following up with the previous families from that week.
And so you've been using a lot of instant internet leads, is that right?
Mostly, and some mortgage protection.
Okay.
And some old leads that I've just had that,
Right. The mortgage protection, are you talking about the AIDS mailers on there?
Yes.
On CRM? Okay, so most of the stuff you're getting is from CRM,
Yes.
right? Okay, cool. So you're with the Rhinos, Rich and those guys, and and you worked with Eric a little bit, and now Calvin and Justin and those guys, and you're actually in the Roanoke office where they're at, so that's cool that you came to visit. We get to meet you. I talked to you on the phone a couple times. I know you had a great time at convention. Learned a lot. What was your favorite part about convention? Who was your favorite speaker? I say speaker, the paid speakers.
I think Hegna.
Yeah?
Yes.
Tom? Why was that? Because you got to learn about annuities and stuff? You just didn't know stuff?
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the business for so long, and he's pretty wise to his ways. And, I mean, he has experience on stage, and he's a wealth of knowledge if you can catch it all. He also, has some good contacts in the industry. You can really dig deeper into what he's sharing to try to, increase your education and level up in some ways. So, yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed all the speakers.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cool.
that was one that stood out to me.
What about we had the headliners, I guess you will, would be Austin Hatch, Fly Girl, I think that's what she called herself. And then you had guy from Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, and there was one more, I think. But out of those, Dave Anderson. Out of those four, what were your favorites? No right or wrong answer?
No.
Don't know? Didn't have a favorite out of those four?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of like just took notes the whole time and,
Yeah.
so, you know.
Got it. Well, so for me, Austin Hatch was my favorite. I like this story. Then we had a chance to spend a little time with him backstage.
I mean, I think, after thinking about it, that really did kind of move me. I was getting a little emotional.
Yeah.
No
kidding.
He's been through a lot, and to overcome that, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, in our daily lives, right? In this business, one of the things that, Stacy, I've been trying, which it sounds like you've done the same thing recently, is trying to eliminate those distractions. One of the things I've always done and being in this business a long time is I found that when I focus my energy on someone else and helping them or making it about them, and I think if we do that as an agency owner or a person in this business growing it, or we're just talking about the clients, just making it about the clients, I would love to be in the field because I'm able to literally remove everything else in my life while I'm out there. Because I really just focus on that. Now, my wife, she kind of used to that. I mean, they need me, my kids, whatever, they know they can get me. But outside of that, most people don't bother me when I'm in the field. Like I'm out there, serving the clients. And it's been a while since I've been in the field, but I'm just saying when I was out there, that's what I did. Do you find that when you're in the field, you're just kind of lost in it? Like when you're really grinding and seeing the people?
Yes, I definitely consume. I'm consumed with the person I'm with. Like I'm giving them my attention, listening to what their needs are. Even last week, this lady, she was disabled, and we were working on the app, and I had to call Prosperity back, and she was like, "I'm really hungry. Can you go get me some Sonic? Here's my card." And I was like, "You know what? I'll go get you some Sonic." And then she asked me to get her mail. So, I'm like not even, and she wanted me to help her with her email too, like doing some other stuff, computer. I'm like, okay, I don't mind helping. Some of these elderly people do need some other assistance. So, you're kind of making a friend there too in some ways. And I mean, she called me the next day. Some of my clients call me the next day and tell me about their life. So it makes me feel like I really did connect with them, and if they do have any kind of issue or want to talk to me, they can feel free to call me. So,
and you're smart in a way that just new agents understand or watching this. Like it's not like she's going there and camping out for 2 hours. Or whatever. Now, if she doesn't have another appointment scheduled, you take that extra time, whatever, right? And you do what you can. I mean, I'm the same way. I think that was just because I do care so much about people, I have to watch that. I have to watch how much time I spend with people in the field and that kind of thing. You can get lost in it and think and you are getting something done, especially if you've written, gone ahead and take care of a policy for them, protect their family. You still got to take care of yours too, so I think we just be smart about that. But I do love that caring attitude because I've done the same thing. Like, hey, you want to run over here, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's the end of the day, you do what you have to do to help them. What are some things that you like about the structure? So you're on dial teams, Zoom, right?
Oh, yes.
How beneficial has that been to be on the Zoom dials, just to hear other people? Not that you're not good at what you're doing, because you obviously are, but you're getting better and learning different tips. How's that helped you?
Well, from the beginning, even before I was, fully contracted, I was on Zoom dials training, and practice dialing. I felt like the more I could get on there, the more I would have that team camaraderie, and also hear some tips from other people and share, because we're always kind of upgrading our script and making it better and sharing it with others. So I definitely feel like being on Zoom, the Zoom dials, is very important. There's a couple different ones that I kind of hopped on too. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're just one big family. And then on FFL dials, on our Zooms, we actually have 3 other rooms now we've created, which is kind of cool. You can get on there and learn about recruiting. Mm-hmm. You can get on there, do one-on-one coaching, and then we also have another room where they're doing live dials or call to closes, which is nice. Are you doing all yours in person?
I usually set up my week trying to get him in homes. Like, want to get in the home, want to get to know the client and the family. But if they don't want to get in the home, then I just offer to either do a Zoom call with them, or sometimes they're ready to take care of it right then. I ask them, are you ready to take care of this right now? And that's how I've gotten a couple of telesales. So just after gathering information, kind of find out what their needs are, then I kind of go from there.
Cool. So what are some other tips, if you had some advice to new agents just getting started? How much are you investing in leads each week, would you say?
I'd like to invest more, of course, but about $300 to $500 a week.
That's it?
Yes, I do a lot of follow-up.
Okay. So do you imagine, I'm just going to give you a tip here. So if you doubled or tripled that, if you tripled it, what you could do with the money you're making.
Yeah, I could definitely do a lot more, triple.
Yeah, so do that. Like, you've had a good week, get some of that money, and then prepare for dollar. And so since you are following up so much, I can see that. And, the one thing that we can get better at, and it sounds like you're already doing, is getting referrals. You're getting leads and things like that. I think, on this podcast, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but, that's something we could do better at. We got guys out there now that are just door knocking. Like Ron Miller, who is got a big agency, and he went back in the field recently, and he door knocked this weekend a couple of days. And I think it's like 6 families protected, something like that. And so he, 6 families protected, Ron did. And so in door knocking, and then Colton Kelly has been doing 5, 6, 8 families a week protecting, and he's only door knocking. So he's got the leads, but he's door knocking them. So, it sounds like you're doing that, but I would challenge you to believe in yourself because you're good, and triple that number. So you get up to that 800, 900, let's say you get to 1,000 even. I think if you did 1,000 a week, Stacy, you'll protect 20, 25 families a week.
Yeah, this last week that I did really well in, I actually did purchase, about 700, 800 plus leads, and I saw a big difference. Right.
So that's the thing we get to teach on this a little bit. So for me, I was doing probably 1,500 to 2,000 a week when we did Hall of Fame, averaging 40, 50 families a month at least. And, some weeks I don't know, I might have even invested more. And I think that's the key word, spent versus invest. You're investing, right? So you're investing that money back in your business. And, obviously keeping a separate account. I'm sure you have a business account. You're pretty squared away. But that's important, too. If you're watching this, when you're making income and that the carriers pay you, make sure you keep that separate. Keep it over here. You don't want to waste, you don't want to waste or spend it on stuff that you don't need, number one, and you don't want to starve the business. So that's important. And you have lead money. But Stacey's just really good at follow-up, so there's probably some things we can learn there and get some leads and stuff. So I was talking to you earlier, and I asked you where you were from and where you went to school. Where'd you go to school?
UNC Chapel Hill.
And so you're kind of in that area right now, right? Basketball country, if you will, right?
Yes.
Tar Heel fan. So, and the funny thing is, I didn't tell her this, but so my father went to Carolina, right? I was born in University Hospital on campus. I was. Isn't that funny? You went to Carolina.
Cool.
So I had no idea. So that's a pretty cool connection, right? So we like the Hills when it comes to basketball. Obviously, my mom is like avid. My dad.
Yeah.
They're almost 80, both of them. And they scream and yell, and it's crazy. My mom, I can call her in the middle of a game, and she's like, "What?" She's like yelling, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a basketball. Crazy, right? I feel like university, versus football, but.
Yeah, and
I get more LSU football, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's funny because, here we are in the backyard of Virginia Tech Hokies who just won the ACC championship. Like, hey, yeah, that let me repeat that. They actually beat Duke and North Carolina back-to-back days. And
I'm okay with that.
I know, right? Especially since Duke lost, right? As long as Duke lost, we're good, right? It's my podcast. I can do whatever I want.
Dukies, no.
That's right. Yeah, well, my kids call it something else. They were raised right.
Yeah.
So,
whoops, I wasn't.
they put a P in front. Anyway, long story short, but no, we're having fun here. But it is the NCAAs coming up, and so that was fun. But we did beat Coach K the last game at home, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a good. Yeah, it wasn't all about really the heels at that point.
Yeah, it's true.
It was, even though they did beat them.
Yes. I mean, he's a legend, right?
Yeah.
Like we got mad respect there. I feel like if you took Coach K and said he's the best basketball coach ever, and you took Nick Saban, best college football coach, I think we have the best coach in the insurance world ever seen, and that's in Sean Mike. So it's pretty cool that you're here, right? You mentioned Andrew Taylor, part of his team, and it's just I think it's just a big family. So what are some things that you could share with any new agents maybe watching that, because you're a single mom, right? You got 3 kids you got to take care of, and how you're able to manage that?
Well, like when he asked me earlier, what brought me to FFL, I really feel like now that you're even asking me this question, it's the flexibility. Like I'm able to travel between North Carolina, Louisiana, Florida to see my family, my parents, and then out to Utah. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I had like a clock in, clock out job. And obviously my income would be a little different too, so you wouldn't be able to afford to travel as much. So I do feel like it gives me a lot more flexibility to be with my kids and, up and go when I need to go. So I pretty much schedule everything around what the schedule is for them. And I work around it. And they play soccer. I go to their games. But, I mean, on the way, I had an interesting story on the way back down 2 weeks ago, the week that I had this big week. I had some clients calling me on a Sunday. I was like, I'm driving down south, had a 12-hour drive, and they were like, we want to go ahead and take care of this. And I'm like, well, hold on, let me pull over. And I had to pull over like 3 times. Ended up staying in Panera Bread for 3 hours, closed, about 4 or 5 different policies with the family. But you have to realize that, when people call and they need your help, it doesn't matter kind of what you're doing. At some point, I know this is family first, but I was on the road on the way to see my family. I just pulled over for 3 hours. I didn't get in until 1 or 2 in the morning, but I did feel good the next morning when I woke up and was like, wow, I actually worked today. I thought I was going to take off. But it was good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you do travel a lot. I mean, I remember, stop wherever and take care of families, do what you have to do. What are, as a, again, single mom, so you're juggling those balls and figuring out, and you said you were focused. I heard, I think it was funny because I think it was Andrew was sharing with us one day on a call. He was like, hey, I would set these 90-day sprint goals, if you will, and I would just tell Nicole, it's his wife's like, hey, I'm going to work really hard for 90 days, and then we take a couple days, right? And he, whatever that looks like. And then Sean was saying, I'm going to work as hard as I can for the next 90 days. And it was funny because I was talking about the same thing with some of our guys. Hey, look, let's put in 90 days, straightforward focus, and then just breathe for a second, whatever that might look like for you. And you just mentioned 30, which was so cool. So I think maybe do 30, breathe for a second, do another 30, and just kind of do it that way. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I made it to 30, and I started realizing, like, why am I so delirious or tired? You get to that point because I really feel like I was pushing myself. And like as a former athlete, I feel like that's kind of what you need to do. Like there's times that you need to set your goals.
Did you play at college?
I played club soccer at Carolina, but I was more of a tennis pro. Yeah, I do tennis.
All right, cool.
But so I just was like, okay, I'm just going to work as hard as I can. But I realized you need to have those rest periods. So I felt like this could have been a rest period being up here with you guys, getting to meet the team and everything. And I have kind of, slowed down a little bit, maintained. But then you start to kind of get this surge of energy back. Like you said, I think I'm ready for my next 30-day sprint. So it is important. And I have a hard time sometimes relaxing, like stopping and chilling. I always want to be doing something. So maybe exercise, like you said earlier, we were talking about exercising. That needs to be my, next thing I'm going to add to this next 30 days is try to get up a little early or, walk in the afternoon, just take some time to exercise. What time do you get up now? Well, I'm a night owl, so I usually get up around 7.
What time do you go to bed?
6:37.
You say 9
11, 12-ish, and I need to probably, wind it down a little sooner.
Yeah, so just, I don't think I sleep as much as most people. But I'd say 11 is a good time to kind of settle best you can. And then, you don't have to get up at 4, but if you can get up at 5:30 or 6 and move that back, it'll change your life.
An hour and a half, I feel like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Once the routine starts, I feel like my body's going to adjust to it, kind of like muscle memory with, athletes. So, trying to just get through that. So if I add one thing, like last month, it was just
that's good.
Baby steps.
Yeah, that's right. And the whole thing is trying to get better every day. I think, right? Just trying to get better and better every day. When I wake up, I was like, how can I get better today? And it's setting new goals, and it's changing some things, and whether it's working out more or whatever. I think it's challenge yourself just to reach out to other people and help them. But as you grow the business, and you will. That extra couple hours you can gain in the morning, if you go from 7 to 5, that'll change your life. Just because when I say 5, you wake up at 5, maybe you start working out at 5:30, something like that. you get to that point, you're going to buy a couple hours in there, and you're going to be like, how did I even do this before? Because, think about it. Your kids probably call you, right, after 7. Your agents are, as you start building a team, they're going to call you after 7, 8 o'clock. This happens, that happens. The world starts to wake up. But see, if you're up earlier, you don't have to deal with any of that mess. You can focus on, if you're spiritual, you read the Bible, you can pray, you can read, you can work out, you can get all this other stuff done that you end up doing later on. Because if you took that and put it at 7, now you're at 9, now you're getting to work. See what I mean?
Yeah, and if you exercise in the morning too, and you have that peace of mind, you get started right, you have time to eat your breakfast, you're not, you're just kind of settling in. You might be able to get an extra workout in the evening in too.
That's right.
And if you can get 2 a day in for 30, 40 minutes,
that's right.
Leveling up.
That's the way to do it. So listen, we've enjoyed you being on here, but as we kind of wrap this thing up in the next couple minutes, what are some things you're loving about what you're doing here at FFL, and some encourage some other people to make that change for their life, and then where do you see yourself in 6 months and a year, and some of your goals?
Well, I feel like coming up here, meeting the team, working with Calvin, I feel like finding that running buddy is really important. That person that you can trust, that you get along with, that you're communicating well with, is very essential in this business. So if you can find 2 people, 3 people, just to get started, and I feel like the sky's the limit. You just have to work really hard, be true to yourself, and admit your mistakes if you make them, and keep getting better. And I hope to have a pretty good growing team. I love being in leadership roles. They talked about in church yesterday, people pleasing. Yeah, I can be.
Where'd you go to church?
Oh, over at Elevate.
Yeah,
yes,
Elevation,
it was
cool.
great. My
They
first
saw a
time
lot
there.
of family there.
Yeah, they have one in Nashville, so I'm excited to attend the campus over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I'm a people pleaser, but at the same time, yeah, I definitely feel like I have compassion for others, and I want to help others succeed. So, whatever I'm doing to be successful, I'm willing to share with anybody and help them.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to see it. And, going to church, it matters to me. I mean, putting God first in our life and our business matters to me. I'm not afraid to talk about that. I believe we've grown in exponential rates within FFL because of that, and we'll continue to do that. So care about people, love on people, stuff like that starts there in my mind. So as we wrap this up, tell people how they want to work with you, okay? Team Rhinos down, with those guys, and, Calvin Bannister, CJ, he's out of Roanoke here, played football with the Ravens, great guy. Justin, all of them. Rich, Billy, all great people. So great team with the Rhinos there. So how do they get a hold of you?
You all can reach out and call me on my cell.
Yeah, give it to them.
It's 225-810-0860.
Cool. Well, guys, if you want to come work here with us or you want to work with Stacy, we're here to help you. Stacy's really good. I mean, she does know her products, she's very high product knowledge, dials the phone, books her own appointments, obviously doing leads, referrals, all that. She kind of said she protected 17 families last week. And so you can kind of do the math on that. If you learn about our company, we can kind of share that with you. And so the opportunity is great here at FFL. I believe it. If you come over here and you're willing to work hard, be teachable, coachable, you can definitely be successful here. But we're here to help you any way we can. So thanks for being on today. Hope this matters. And thanks, Stacey, for joining us. Really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
you.
me.
Yeah, thank you.